The machine gun tracers streak past your head, green ones from the Germans, lighting up the darkness like deadly fireflies. Your hands grip the .30 caliber machine gun so tightly your knuckles ache. It's October 21st, 1944, in a small French village called Patton, and this is your first night of combat. You're 19 years old, lying in the mud of no man's land, and a woman's voice echoes through the darkness from a German loudspeaker. Men of the 95th Infantry, we know you are here. Your heart pounds so hard you're sure the Germans can hear it. How did they know you're here? This was supposed to be a secret patrol. The green flare overhead illuminates everything in an eerie, ghostly light. You freeze. Don't move. Don't even breathe. Movement means death. Then you see it. A flashlight clicking on and off, maybe 20 yards away. A German officer checking his watch, leading a squad straight toward your position. He doesn't know you're here. Not yet. What's your next move? Do you open fire and reveal your position? Do you let them pass and risk them discovering your point men trapped ahead? You have seconds to decide. The lives of your entire patrol depend on what you do right now. Welcome to POV World War II. I'm your host, Fernando Prieto. And today you're going to experience World War II through the eyes of Edwin Kolodziej, a Polish-American kid from Sayreville, New Jersey, who went from high school senior to combat scout in Hitler's Europe. You'll feel the terror of your first firefight and the exhaustion of the Battle of Metz. You'll discover what it means to kill or be killed before you're old enough to vote. This isn't Hollywood. This is Eddie's story. Today, it's yours. It's spring 1943. You're 17 years old, a senior at Sayreville High School in New Jersey. You're president of your graduating class, editor of the yearbook, and you should be worried about prom and graduation. Instead, you're sitting in an assembly hall while a military officer explains that every male student will be entering military service. The only question is how. If you're college-bound and can pass the tests, there's something called the Army Specialized Training Program, ASTP. Take the exam at Princeton, qualify, and the Army will send you to college for an engineering degree before making you an officer. It sounds like a decent deal. Better than being drafted straight into the infantry, right? Your name is Edwin Kolodziej. That's K-O-L-O-D-Z-I-E-J. And in Sayreville, that's as common as Smith. Your family has Polish roots. Your father is a successful butcher and grocer. Your mother works with your father and worries about your dad's health, about making ends meet, about this war that's swallowing up all the neighborhood boys. After school, instead of playing baseball like you'd planned, you work at the Raritan Arsenal, loading munitions into boxcars. The coaches have all enlisted, and anyway, loading shells feels more important than playing second base. You're doing your part for the war effort, even before you're in uniform. Can you feel the weight of those artillery shells in your arms? The ache in your back after 8 hours of loading? You don't know it yet, but some of these shells you're loading will follow you to Europe. Maybe one of them will save your life. Maybe one will nearly end it. July 20th, 1943. You're inducted into the Army. Your mother tries not to cry. Your father shakes your hand. His grip still strong despite the years of backbreaking labor. On August 10th, you board a train for Fort Dix, then Fort Benning, Georgia. You're going to be an infantry officer. College can wait. Fort Benning in August feels like stepping into an oven. The Georgia heat and humidity hit you like a physical force. You're from New Jersey. You've never experienced anything like this. The drill sergeants seem to enjoy watching northern boys suffer in southern summer. Basic training is 13 weeks of controlled chaos. You learn to disassemble and reassemble the M1 Garand rifle blindfolded. You master the .30 caliber machine gun. the weapon that will soon save your life and take many others. You run, you march, you crawl through mud under barbed wire while instructors fire live ammunition above your head. Do you understand what they're preparing you for? Can you imagine what it will feel like when those bullets are aimed at you, not over you? After basic training, you're sent to the University of Pittsburgh for the ASTP program. Finally, college. You're assigned to a 17-story dormitory, taking engineering classes that make your head spin. The schedule is brutal. Classes all morning, all afternoon, mandatory study hall at night. You get exactly 1 hour of free time per day. The competition is fierce. Some of your classmates have already been to college. They just didn't mention it when they signed up. They're taking these courses for the second time while you're struggling to keep up. Physics, calculus, chemistry, all crammed into 6-week terms. You realize you're in over your head, but you push through. You have to. You're the cadet first sergeant of your company, responsible for maintaining discipline among guys who are just as young and confused as you are. Your mother even visits, her first big trip anywhere, taking the train all the way from New Jersey, just to see you in your uniform. Then, 3 months into the program, the hammer falls. The Secretary of War announces the ASTP is being curtailed. No more college, no more officer training. You're being assigned directly to infantry divisions. The Army needs bodies for the invasion of Europe, and you're one of them. How does it feel to have your future yanked away? One day you're studying to be an engineer. The next you're headed for the front lines. Do you feel betrayed? Afraid? Or just resigned to whatever comes next? You're transferred to Indiantown Gap, Pennsylvania, assigned to the 95th Infantry Division, 379th Regiment, 1st Battalion, Company B. Captain Pacciotti interviews you briefly, then assigns you to the weapons platoon as a machine gunner. You're good with the .30 caliber. You proved that in basic. They send you to West Virginia for mountain training. The rumor is you're headed for Italy. Mountain warfare against the Germans in the Alps. You learn to rappel down cliffs, to move silently through mountain terrain, to survive in conditions that would kill untrained men. But rumors in the Army are worth less than the paper they're not printed on. You're not going to Italy. Camp Miles Standish, Massachusetts. This is it. Embarkation for overseas. The camp is a chaotic sea of olive drab uniforms. Everyone trying to send last letters home, making promises they might not be able to keep. You board a Liberty ship, packed in like sardines with thousands of other replacements. The Atlantic crossing takes 2 weeks. Below deck, the air is thick with the smell of vomit, sweat, and fear. Men play cards, write letters, pray. Some pretend to sleep. Nobody talks about what's waiting on the other side. The ship zigzags across the Atlantic. Submarine evasion tactics. Every time the ship changes course, your stomach lurches. Not from seasickness, but from knowing that somewhere out there, U-boats are hunting. You're assigned a hammock in the hold, stacked 4 high. The guy above you gets seasick the first night. You learn to sleep with your helmet over your face. You learn to eat standing up because the mess tables are always full. You learn that fresh air on deck is worth risking the North Atlantic cold. Can you taste the metallic flavor of powdered eggs? Feel the constant vibration of the ship's engines through your feet. Some men gamble away their entire pay. Others write letter after letter home, knowing they might never get to mail them. You dock at Liverpool, England. The English countryside looks like a painting. Green fields, stone walls, proper tea served by proper British ladies at the Red Cross canteen. But you're not staying. After a few days, you're trucked to the Channel coast, then loaded into an LST, landing ship, tank, for the crossing to France. The Channel crossing is rougher than the Atlantic. These flat-bottomed LSTs roll in even calm seas, and the Channel is anything but calm. More seasickness, more fear. D-Day plus 101. That's when you hit the beach at Normandy. The invasion happened over 3 months ago, but you can still see the wreckage. Burned out tanks, destroyed bunkers, graves marked with rifles stuck bayonet first into the sand. The beach that cost so many lives is now a busy supply depot. Ships unloading the machinery of war 24 hours a day. The smell hits you first, a mixture of diesel fuel, rotting seaweed, and something else you can't quite identify until you realize it's the lingering scent of death. Even after 3 months, even after the bodies have been removed and buried, the beach remembers. Your division moves inland, through the hedgerow country where so many died in June and July. The Norman countryside is beautiful and terrible. Every hedge could hide a machine gun. Every farmhouse could be a strong point. You see the evidence of hard fighting everywhere. Knocked out Sherman tanks with holes punched clean through their armor. German 88mm guns twisted and blackened. Graves. So many graves. Do you wonder about the men who died here? Their last thoughts? Whether they knew their sacrifice would mean something. Your division moves into static positions along the Moselle River. For weeks, you're in a defensive line, watching the Germans on the opposite bank, waiting for orders. It's a strange kind of war. You can see the enemy through binoculars, watch them moving around their positions. Sometimes, when the wind is right, you can smell their cooking. They're probably looking back at you, thinking the same thoughts. The static line is almost worse than combat. At least in a fight, you're too busy to think. Here you have nothing but time. Time to wonder when the attack will come. Time to imagine all the ways you could die. Time to write letters home that say nothing real, because the censors will just black it out anyway. It's during this lull that you make a decision that will change your war entirely. The night before your first scheduled combat mission with B Company, Captain Lewis approaches your position. He's forming something called the 379th Infantry Regimental Combat Scouts. While the Intelligence and Reconnaissance Platoon finds enemy positions but never fights, the Combat Scouts will do the dirty work, behind the lines patrols, capturing prisoners, getting into firefights to probe German defenses. We need men who are good with weapons, he says. I heard you're one of the best machine gunners in the battalion. Why did you volunteer? Were you bored with static duty? Looking for excitement? Or did you simply feel you could do more? Be more useful in a smaller elite unit? Maybe it's simpler than that. Maybe you just couldn't stand the waiting anymore. The scouts have been training for 6 weeks. You had 1 night to prepare. What's your next move? You're about to find out. October 21st, 1944, Vaison, France. You've covered your face with black grease paint. Your hands grip the .30 caliber machine gun you've modified. Instead of tracer rounds every 5 bullets, you've spaced them every 15 or 20. Let the Germans have their straight green lines pointing back to their positions. You'll give them scattered red dots that reveal nothing. The patrol briefing was simple. Too simple. Intelligence says the Germans set up a command post in Vaison every night. A listening post to monitor American movements. Your mission? Slip through your own lines, infiltrate the village, capture a German for interrogation, and get back alive. 15 men against unknown enemy strength in unfamiliar terrain. In the dark. What could go wrong? The patrol is organized with military precision. 2 getaway men at the rear, whose only job is to run back with intelligence if everything goes to hell. 3 point men probing ahead into the darkness. The main body spread out in between. And you and Private Grondal, with the machine gun, the patrol's heaviest firepower, its insurance policy against disaster. You move out after full dark, passing through your own lines with whispered passwords. The password tonight is Anthony Adverse. If someone says Anthony, you answer Adverse. Get it wrong, and your own men will shoot you. The irony isn't lost on you. You're as likely to die from friendly fire as enemy bullets. No man's land stretches before you like an ocean of darkness. Every shadow could hide a German patrol. Every sound makes your heart skip. Was that a weapon being cocked? A footstep? Or just the wind? You've been walking for what feels like hours, but is probably 20 minutes, when the village comes into view. Vaison is typical of small French villages. Old stone buildings clustered around a central square, except this square is triangular, and somewhere in those buildings, Germans are waiting. Or are they? Maybe intelligence is wrong. Maybe this is a trap. Maybe. Stop thinking. Focus on your sector, your job. You and Grondal set up the machine gun at the corner of the triangle. Ammunition belt feeding from the left. The metal is cold against your hands. You blow on your fingers to warm them, careful not to make too much noise. The point men move forward, shadows among shadows, heading toward the apex of the triangle. You track their movement through the gun sights, ready to provide covering fire. They're 30 yards ahead, 40, 50. Then the world explodes in green light. A German flare bursts overhead, that distinctive sickly green that makes everything look like it's underwater. You freeze. Don't move. Don't even blink. Movement draws the eye, and right now, German eyes are searching for you. Your mind races. How did they know? This was supposed to be secret. Every detail was classified. It hears this flare, right over your position, like they were expecting you. The flare dies, darkness returns, and then, music. American music. Crackling from German loudspeakers. Glenn Miller? Tommy Dorsey? You can't tell. It's surreal. Lying in French mud listening to American swing music played by Germans who want to kill you. Then comes the voice. A woman's voice. Speaking English with barely an accent. Men of the 95th Infantry, we know you are here. Your blood freezes. She says your division number. This isn't random. They know exactly who you are. Why don't you come join us? We have warm beds and beautiful women waiting for you. Propaganda. Tokyo Rose's European cousin. But knowing it's propaganda doesn't make it less unnerving. If they know your unit, what else do they know? Your mission? Your strength? Your names? The music cuts off. Silence returns. Somehow worse than the noise. You're lying next to Grondal. Both of you barely breathing. When you see it, a flashlight, clicking on and off, maybe 20 yards to your left. Just a quick flash, but enough to illuminate a German officer checking his watch. He's leading a squad. You count 8, maybe 9 shadows moving in single file along the street. They're not searching. They're just moving through on a patrol route. And that route is about to intersect with your position. 10 yards, 8, 5. You can smell them now. That distinctive mixture of ersatz soap, German tobacco, and wool uniforms. You can hear the creak of leather equipment, the soft clink of metal on metal they haven't quite managed to silence. The officer is so close, you can see his rank insignia in the moonlight. Do you let them pass? If they continue, they'll walk right into your point men. Do you open fire and reveal your position to however many other Germans are in the village? You have maybe 2 seconds to decide. Your finger finds the trigger. The machine gun swings left on its bipod, smooth and quiet. You've oiled it obsessively for just this moment. You line up on the German officer and squeeze. The .30 caliber erupts like thunder in the quiet night. The muzzle flash blinds you, but you keep firing, working the gun left to right, right to left. The Germans are caught completely in the open. No cover, nowhere to run. The officer goes down first, his flashlight spinning away into the darkness. The others fall like dominoes. Brass casings cascade around you, hot against your skin where they touch. The gun's barrel glows faintly red in the darkness. Your shoulder aches from the gun's pounding recoil, but you keep firing until movement stops. Then, sudden silence. Your ears ring. Cordite smoke burns your nostrils. One German soldier has made it almost to your position before falling. In the terrible quiet after your gun stops, you can hear him. He's crying, calling out in German. Mutti! Mutti! Mother. He's calling for his mother. He sounds young, maybe younger than you. The sound tears at something inside you, but you can't help him. Moving to him would expose your position. You listen as his voice gets weaker. Stops. Can you live with that sound? You'll have to. You'll hear it in the quiet moments for the rest of your life. Now 2 German machine guns open up from the village square. MG-42s, Hitler's buzzsaw. They've got your point men pinned down. Green tracers zip past your head, so close you feel the heat. The Germans' high rate of fire means their tracers form solid green lines pointing straight back to their positions. Perfect. You traverse the gun toward the first green line and open fire. Every 5th doorway, every window. Methodically working your way down the building line. Wood splinters, glass shatters, stone chips fly. You're not aiming at specific targets. You're filling the air with lead, making it impossible for anyone to survive in those positions. The first German gun goes silent. You shift to the second, repeat the process. Behind you, you hear explosions. The getaway men have stumbled onto another German squad taking shelter under a tree and are introducing them to American hand grenades. How long has the firefight lasted? Minutes? Hours? Time has no meaning in combat. There's only the now. This trigger pull. This belt change. This muzzle sweep. The order comes to disengage.
Fall back! Fall back!
You fire a last burst to keep German heads down. Then grab the gun. It's so hot it burns through your gloves. But you don't have time to let it cool. Grondal grabs the ammunition boxes. Do you run? Walk? If you run, you might trip, make noise, give away your route. If you walk, you're exposed longer. You compromise, a fast crouch walk, stopping every few yards to listen for pursuit. You're halfway back to your own lines when you realize you can't remember the password. Anthony? Andrew? Alexander? Your mind is blank. If you get this wrong, American soldiers will shoot you. You've survived Germans just to potentially die from friendly fire. Anthony, you whisper as you approach the American lines, praying you remembered correctly. Adverse, comes the blessed response. You've made it. You collapse in a barn loft, exhausted beyond description. Your hands won't stop shaking. Adrenaline aftermath. Your first combat. Your first kills. Maybe 30 Germans dead. How do you process that? How do you reconcile the kid from Sayreville who worked at the arsenal with the killer you've just become? Sleep doesn't last long. You're shaken awake by someone lifting you clear off the ground. It's Jumbo Curran, 6 feet 4 inches of Cornell football player. One of the point men you saved. You saved my life, he shouts, kissing you on the forehead. Then come the MPs. Get up, soldier. The brass wants to see you. Downstairs, the barn is full of officers and reporters. General Twaddle, the division commander, newspapermen from Chicago, the International News Service. They want to know what happened. every detail. You're 19 years old. You've been in combat exactly one night, and now you're giving a press conference. The next morning, you walk over to where B Company, your old unit, is dug in. They watch the whole firefight from their positions. The Germans came out with a white flag this morning, they tell you. Carried out 30 bodies. As you're walking back, you encounter a solitary figure standing along the front lines. Silver stars on his helmet, ivory-handled pistols, that distinctive scowl. General George S. Patton. What's your name, soldier? Kolodziej, sir. You're the one I'm here to decorate today. He pins the combat infantryman's badge on your chest. How many did you kill? Maybe 30, sir. Good, that's 30 of those bastards who won't reproduce again. Pure Patton. Even in person, he looks exactly like you imagined. Like he stepped out of a movie that hasn't been made yet. You've been in combat one night. You've won the Bronze Star. But this war is just beginning for you. November 1944, the fortress of Metz. Metz isn't what you pictured when someone said fortress. No fairy tale castle with towers and walls. Instead, it's a nightmare of German engineering, a series of underground concrete bunkers, part of the Maginot Line that France built and Germany captured, with retractable gun turrets that rise from the earth, fire, and disappear again. The Germans have had 4 years to improve these defenses, and they've used their time well. Your regiment's assault has crashed into Fort Jeanne d'Arc, like a wave against a cliff. The fort is a monster, a concrete bunker 75 feet long, walls 4 feet thick, covered with earth so it looks like just another hill until it starts killing, gun ports that can barely be seen until they spit death. The division's advance has stopped cold. Bodies litter the approach. The survivors are pinned down, unable to advance or retreat. Every 30 minutes, with clockwork precision, German artillery drops 6 shells on the American positions. Not random firing, 6 shells, same pattern, every 30 minutes. It's about psychological torture. You can time it. You know it's coming. You can't do anything about it. Your scout unit draws the short straw. Special mission. The trapped infantry needs ammunition, food, medical supplies. You're going to carry it to them. At night. Through a battlefield the Germans have zeroed with artillery. Past positions they know you have to cross. What could possibly go wrong? You load up like pack mules. Your rifle, your ammunition, plus extra ammo for the trapped men. K-rations, medical supplies. Every man carrying 60, 70 pounds. You can barely walk, let alone fight if you run into Germans. But those men need these supplies, where they die. You move out after midnight. No moon. Good for concealment. Bad for navigation. You follow the communications wire laid by the first assault, stepping over bodies you can't see but can smell. Death has a distinctive odor. Sweet. Cloying, unforgettable, mixed with cordite, mud, and fear sweat. The closer you get to the fort, the worse it becomes. Shell craters filled with water and worse things. Bodies and parts of bodies, some American, some German, some impossible to tell. You try not to think about the fact you're walking through what's left of men who were alive this morning. Can you imagine the weight on your back? The strain in your legs as you stumble through this nightmare landscape? Every shadow could hide a German patrol. Every noise might trigger an artillery barrage. Your mouth is dry from fear, but you can't drink. The water is for the wounded. You reach the fort area just before dawn. What you find defies description. The assault has carved a trench around the bunker, and it's filled with the remnants of repeated attacks. Rainwater mixed with blood, bodies stacked like sandbags where men have used their dead comrades for cover. The wounded are huddled in a side bunker, some crying, some eerily silent. some calling for their mothers in delirium. Shell-shocked soldiers sit staring at nothing, their minds gone somewhere else, somewhere safer. One keeps repeating 30 minutes, over and over, counting down to the next artillery barrage. Another is meticulously cleaning his rifle, has been for hours, the other men tell you. The metal is worn bright from his obsessive cleaning. You and Grondal are ordered to set up your machine gun at one end of the trench. You pick what looks like solid ground, a slight rise perfect for a firing position. You lean against what you think is an earthen wall. When dawn comes, you discover the truth. You've been lying on dead Americans, covered with raincoats. Your solid ground is corpses. Your earthen wall is men who were alive yesterday. How do you work through that in your mind? How do you keep functioning when you realize you've been sleeping on the dead? You don't process it. You push it down, lock it away, deal with it later or never. The rain starts again, turning the trench into a river of mud, blood, and things you don't want to identify. You're soaked within minutes. Your feet are already going numb from the water in your boots. This is how trench foot starts. The rot that can cost you your toes or your feet. Then comes the artillery, right on schedule. 6 shells. The first one is short, exploding 50 yards away. The second is long, overshooting by about the same distance. They're bracketing, adjusting their aim. The third is closer. The fourth caves in part of the trench 20 yards from your position, burying 2 men. You help dig them out. One is dead, suffocating in the mud. The other is alive, but his mind is gone. He keeps asking for his mother, thinks he's home in Iowa. By the 5th shell, everyone who can has pressed themselves into the mud, merging with the earth. The explosion lifts you off the ground, slams you back down. Dirt and debris rain from the sky. Your ears ring. Blood runs from your nose. The 6th shell is a dud. It slams into the mud 10 feet from your position and just sits there, smoking slightly. Everyone stares at it, waiting. Nothing happens. A gift from a Czech slave laborer in a German munitions factory, or just luck? 30 minutes until the next barrage. What's your next move? Do you stay in the dubious safety of the trench? Or do you try to improve your position? Every instinct says to dig deeper, but the bottom of the trench is already water. Dig too deep, and you'll drown. Grondal has been studying the fort. Look, he says, pointing at the gun ports. They're only open when they're firing. The rest of the time they're sealed. He's right. The Germans need air, but the gun ports are their only ventilation when sealed up. At night, he continues, they must open them to breathe. If we could get close enough. It's insane. Move closer to the fort, into the open. You'll be completely exposed. If the Germans see you, if they have anyone watching, you're dead. But the current approach isn't working. Men are dying for nothing. You spend the day watching the fort, timing the gun port openings, memorizing the pattern. As darkness falls, you make your decision. You'll wait for the pre-dawn hour. When the human body is at its lowest ebb, when sentries are least alert, the sun will be behind you as it rises, preventing reflection off your gun barrel. The night crawls by. You take turns on watch, but neither of you really sleeps. How could you, knowing what you're about to do? At 0500, you make your move. You and Grondal pick up the machine gun and start forward. 20 yards from the trench to the slight rise you've identified. 20 yards of complete exposure. You're 10 yards out when you trip. The ground gives way under your foot. Not ground, a body, partially buried in the mud. You go down hard, the machine gun flying from your hands. For a moment, you lie there, waiting for the shots that will end your life. Nothing. The Germans haven't seen you. But now Gröndal is behind the gun and you're feeding the ammunition belt. Not how you planned it, but plans don't survive contact with the enemy, or with dead bodies in the dark. The gun ports are open, just as Gröndal predicted. 4 inches by 2 inches, tiny slits, impossible targets. But you don't need to hit them dead center. Bullets entering those ports will ricochet inside the concrete bunker, bouncing off walls, turning the fort into a death trap for its occupants. Gröndal opens fire. The sound is deafening in the pre-dawn quiet. Tracers disappear into the gun ports. You feed the belt, watching for jams, watching for Germans, watching for anything that could go wrong. How long do you fire? Seconds? Minutes? It feels like hours. The barrel glows cherry red. Steam rises from where rain hits the hot metal. Then, incredibly, a white flag appears from the fort. A voice shouts in accented English.
We surrender! Stop shooting! We surrender!
The lieutenant orders you forward to check if it's a trap. You respectfully suggest that as the officer, perhaps he should go. He insists. So much for military courtesy. You approach the bunker with your .45 pistol in one hand and a grenade with the pin pulled in the other. If this is a trick, you're taking some Germans with you. Your hand shakes, not from fear, but from exhaustion and adrenaline. Don't drop the grenade. That would be an embarrassing way to die. A young SS officer emerges, blonde, blue-eyed, looking like a Nazi propaganda poster even covered in concrete dust. His uniform is still relatively clean, pressed. Yours is caked with mud, blood, and things you don't want to think about. He speaks perfect English. Many SS officers do. You press the grenade against his stomach. No tricks, or we both die.
You have no need to worry, sir.
He actually says sir. Even surrendering, he maintains military protocol. 37 German soldiers file out. They look dazed, ears bleeding from the ricochets. Some wounded by their own bullets bouncing inside their concrete tomb. Your crazy dawn attack worked. Do you feel victorious or just tired? The fort that stopped an entire division, taken by 2 men with 1 machine gun and an insane idea. The lieutenant's next words are predictable. You captured them. You take them back to regiment. 2 miles through mud that tries to swallow your boots with every step. You order the SS officer to carry your machine gun. It's still too hot to touch comfortably. He protests.
The Articles of War forbid forcing prisoners to carry military equipment.
You gesture with the grenade, still with the pin out. This grenade says you can carry it. Your choice. He picks up the gun, balances it on his shoulder, and here's the thing that will stick with you. He carries it with his head held high, back straight, every inch the Prussian officer. 2 miles through sucking mud, exhausted, defeated, but he never bends, never shows weakness. The trek takes 3 hours. 3 hours of slogging through mud, watching for German artillery, making sure none of the prisoners try to escape. When you finally reach regiment, the German officer sets the machine gun down carefully, turns to you, and salutes. You're too tired to return it. What's your next move? Sleep. You've earned it. You'll receive the Silver Star for this action. Though when they finally tell you weeks later, you're annoyed. They make you walk to regimental headquarters, wearing 2 left boots because you can't find matching ones. The colonel pins a medal on you, hands you a piece of paper. Now you have to carry this for the rest of the war. Great. But Fort Jeanne d'Arc has fallen. The path to Metz is open. The Siegfried line has been cracked. How many lives did your dawn attack save? You'll never know. But tonight you can sleep knowing you did something impossible and live to tell about it. After Metz Falls, you moved to Zarlotern. Urban warfare, house-to-house fighting. Every building could hide snipers. Every doorway could be booby-trapped. You learned to throw grenades into rooms before entering. To never walk down the middle of a street. To trust nothing and no one. The city is a maze of rubble and ruin. Artillery and air bombardment have turned entire blocks into moonscapes of broken concrete and twisted metal. You pick your way through the debris, always watching, always listening. A pile of bricks could hide a machine gun nest. A dead body could suddenly come alive with a pistol or grenade. Do you ever wonder about the families who lived in these houses? You find their photographs scattered in the ruins. Weddings, children's birthdays, holiday gatherings. Normal people living normal lives until the war came to their doorstep. Where did they go? Are they still alive? You don't have time to wonder for long. There's always another house to clear, another street to take. The fighting is different here, more personal. In the open, you might engage enemies at hundreds of yards. In cities, you can see their faces. Sometimes you're so close you can smell them. The distinctive odor of different cigarettes, different rations, different fears. German cigarettes smell like burnt rope. Their uniforms carry the scent of ersatz soap that doesn't quite clean. You probably smell just as foreign to them. Your squad develops a routine for clearing buildings. First man throws a grenade through the doorway. Second and third rush in right after the explosion, before the dust settles. Check corners, check ceilings, check basements. Every room, every closet, every space big enough to hide a man. Can you feel your heart pounding as you kick open each door? That split second when you don't know if you're about to face an empty room or a machine gun. Your finger on the trigger, ready to fire at any movement, trying not to think about the fact that sometimes that movement is a terrified civilian who didn't evacuate in time. One night in December, your scouts are tasked with creating diversions for a major attack. It's an elaborate deception that would make a magician proud. They load you in trucks, drive you to the river, put you in rubber boats. You paddle across in complete darkness, no lights, no talking. Just the soft splash of oars and the breathing of scared men. You hit the far bank running, opening fire on German positions, making as much noise as possible. Grenades, machine guns, everything you've got. The Germans respond with massive firepower. They think this is the main assault. After 15 minutes of intense fighting, the order comes to withdraw. You pile back into the boats, paddle back across while German mortars try to find you in the darkness. But you're not done. They load you back in the trucks, drive 5 miles upriver, and you do it again. Different Germans, same fierce firefight. This time you capture 6 prisoners, grab them and drag them to the boats, while their comrades try to kill all of you. Then a third time, another 5 miles upriver, 3 firefights in 3 different places in one night, making the Germans think a major assault is happening everywhere at once. Meanwhile, the real attack goes in 20 miles away, against the defenders who've been stripped of their reserves that are rushing to meet your phantom attacks. Your human deception, bait to draw German reserves away from the actual objective. Does it make you angry, being used like this? Or proud that they trust your unit with such a critical mission? Maybe you're too exhausted to feel anything at all. Is the exhaustion setting in? When did you last get your full night's sleep? When did you last eat a hot meal? The war becomes a blur of nights and firefights, muddy foxholes and cold rations. Your uniforms never fully dry. Your socks are rotting on your feet. You've forgotten what it feels like to be truly clean, truly warm, truly safe. Some men crack under the strain. They call it combat fatigue now. In the last war, they called it shell shock. A man in your unit suddenly starts screaming one night and won't stop. Another simply sits down and refuses to move, no matter what anyone says. They're evacuated to the rear, and you never see them again. Part of you envies them. Part of you despises them. Most of you just tries not to think about them at all. Do you worry that you'll be next? That one day your mind will just say, enough, and shut down? What keeps you going? Duty? Fear of letting down your buddies? Or just simple animal instinct to survive? December 16th, 1944. You're holding a section of the Saar River when all hell breaks loose to the north. The Germans have launched a massive counteroffensive through the Ardennes forest, what will become known as the Battle of the Bulge. It's their last desperate gamble, throwing everything they have left at the Allied lines. The news that filters down is grim. American units overrun, entire divisions surrounded. The Germans are using their last reserves, elite SS Panzer divisions, paratroopers, everything they've been hoarding for one final throw of the dice. For the first time since D-Day, the Allies are retreating. Your scouts are assigned to hold a mile of frontage along the Saar River with just 10 men. A mile, 10 men. Do the math. That's over 500 yards per man. That's not a defensive line. It's more like bait. You're spread so thin that you can't even see the next man in your line during daylight, let alone at night. The brass is terrified the Germans will attack here too, open up another front while the Allies are reeling in the Ardennes. Your job is to make them think this sector is strongly defended. 10 men pretending to be a company, moving from position to position, firing from different spots to create the illusion of strength. When you arrive at your position, you find elderly German civilians who refuse to leave their homes. They're in their 70s, some in their 80s, and they've decided they'd rather die in their beds than flee. But you can't leave them there. Any of them could be spying for the Wehrmacht, radioing your positions. One old woman clings to her door frame, crying, speaking rapid German you can barely understand. This house has been in her family for 5 generations. Her grandfather built it with his own hands. Her children were born here. Her husband died here. You pry her fingers loose and lift her into the truck. She weighs nothing, like lifting a child. You're 19 years old, and you're destroying lives just by doing your job. What's going through your mind? Do you feel like a liberator or an invader? Can you be both? The old woman's eyes bore into yours, full of hatred and loss. You'll remember that look for the rest of your life. The evacuation takes all day. Some civilians cooperate, packing their few belongings quickly. Others have to be carried out. One old man has to be restrained. He keeps trying to return to his house to retrieve something he forgot. When you finally let him go back, supervised, he returns with a faded photograph of a young man in a Wehrmacht uniform. His son, killed in Russia 2 years ago. The photograph is all he has left. As night falls, you're finally in position. 10 men to hold a mile of river line. You can hear the ice forming on the Saar, a crackling and grinding that could mask the noise of Germans crossing. Every sound could be an attack. Every shadow could be an enemy patrol. The temperature drops below 0. Your breath fogs in the air, giving away your position, so you learn to breathe through a scarf. Your fingers are so numb you can barely work the action on your rifle. You take turns warming your hands on the machine gun barrel after firing, the only source of heat for miles. Do you know what it's like to be so cold that it hurts to move? Your joints feel like they're full of ground glass. Your feet are blocks of ice in boots that never dry. Some men's feet turn black from frostbite. They call it trench foot, and it can cost you your toes or your life. You hold this position for 2 weeks, 2 weeks of waiting for an attack that never comes, 2 weeks of 10 men pretending to be 100. The Germans are throwing everything they have at the Ardennes. They don't have anything left for another offensive. Can you imagine the relief when you're finally taken off the line? When fresh troops arrive to take over your positions, but also the guilt. You held a quiet sector while other Americans were dying by the thousands in the Bulge. You survived another roll of the dice, while better men didn't. The German offensive eventually exhausts itself in January, but not before costing tens of thousands of American lives. Now the road into Germany itself lies open. But first, they have to clear out the Bulge, and that means more fighting, more dying, more nights in frozen foxholes, praying you'll see another dawn. What's keeping you sane? Is it the thought of home? The buddy next to you who depends on you? Or have you just stopped thinking beyond the next meal, the next sleep, the next moment of relative safety? Early 1945. You're across the German border now, moving eastward. The character of the war has changed. German soldiers are younger. Some look like children, or older, men who should be home with grandchildren. The SS units still fight fanatically, but regular Wehrmacht units increasingly surrender without much resistance. Your patrol captures a group of Germans one night. Among them are boys who can't be more than 15, and men who look 60. The Volkssturm, Hitler's last-ditch militia of children and grandfathers. One boy prisoner won't stop crying. He keeps saying, Mutti, Mommy. He's younger than you were when you enlisted. You give him a chocolate bar from your K rations. He looks at you like you're from another planet. The German civilians you encounter are different too. They're terrified, expecting the same treatment the Wehrmacht gave to Russian civilians. Some seem genuinely surprised when you don't shoot them on sight. They've believed their own propaganda. You're learning phrases in German from the prisoners. Simple things. Hände hoch, hands up. Wo sind die Soldaten? Where are the soldiers? Your Polish parents would be amused. Their son using German to survive in a war against Germany. Spring 1945. You can feel it. The war is ending. German resistance is crumbling. Entire units surrender intact. You're moving so fast now that you're capturing towns before the Germans can evacuate them. But it's still dangerous. Some Germans haven't gotten the message that the war is lost, or they don't care. Snipers still take shots. Artillery still falls. Men still die. You think about that constantly now, making it this far just to be killed when it's almost over. Every patrol could be your last. Every firefight could be the one where your luck runs out. You've been in combat for 7 months. How much longer can you keep rolling the dice? Then, in May 1945, word comes down. Germany has surrendered. The war in Europe is over. How do you feel? Relief? Joy? Or just empty? You've been living on adrenaline and fear for so long. What do you do when it suddenly stops? But for you, it's not over. Not yet. You're among the first divisions shipped back to the United States. Not for discharge, for retraining. You're going to be in the first wave to invade Japan. Beachhead assault troops. You get 30 days leave. You go home to Sayreville. Your mother cries when she sees you. Your father shakes your hand again. Looking older, more tired. The house seems smaller than you remember. Everything does. Your mother asks, what happens next? You lie. Don't know yet, Mom. Let's just enjoy the 30 days. But on your last day, your father pulls you aside. Where are you really going? Japan. Invasion force. He nods slowly. You survived Europe. The odds are getting pretty long, Dad. You both know what you're not saying. Estimates for the invasion of Japan predict 1 million American casualties. You've used up a lot of luck already. How much is left? Do you think about not going back? You could run, hide, but you don't. Why? Duty? Honor? Or just the simple fact that your buddies are going and you can't let them down? You report to Camp Shelby, Mississippi. It's August, hot as hell, and you're training for amphibious assault. Then the news comes. Atomic bomb dropped on Japan. Then another. Then surrender. Just like that. It's over. Really over this time. You're discharged at Pine Camp, New York. They want to fix your teeth, sign you up for GI insurance, give you 100 forms to fill out. You just want to go home. Give me my discharge papers and the money for a train ticket. Do you feel different walking out of that camp? You went into the army a boy from New Jersey. You're coming out. What? A killer? A hero? A survivor? Maybe all three. Maybe none of them. You use the GI Bill to go to Rutgers University. The psychologist, testing you for college aptitude, stumbles over your name. Suggests you change it to Kellogg. Is that the price of going to college? You ask. No, he admits. Then I'll keep my father's name. Kolodziej. It was good enough for the first king of Poland. It's good enough for you. You fought across Europe with that name. Men died calling that name. You're not changing it now. You compress 4 years of college into 2.5, taking overloads every semester. Going to summer school. You've met a girl at New Jersey College for Women, Barbara Washburn. You want to get married, start a life, make up for lost time. Sometimes you catch yourself checking rooftops for snipers. The other students, the ones who didn't serve, look at you strangely. You're only 21, but you feel 100 years old compared to them. It's 2001 now. You're 76 years old, sitting in an interview room at Rutgers University, telling your story to young historians who weren't even born when you were fighting in France. They ask you what impact the war had on you. The answer comes easily. I learned that when you get up in the morning and see the sun shining, you say, "Thank God I'm still here today." That's what the war taught me, because you live day to day and you learn to appreciate life. You think back to that 19-year-old kid lying in the mud at Vaison, terrified, pulling the trigger for the first time. The memories are still vivid. That German soldier crying for his mother. Jumbo Curran lifting you off the ground. General Patton's casual brutality. The SS officer carrying your machine gun through the mud with his head held high. Grondahl's crazy idea to attack the bunker at dawn. In Metz, when you visit, people stop you on the street when they learn you're with the 95th Infantry Division. They shake your hand, some with tears in their eyes. Merci, they say. Thank you for our freedom. What's your next move? At 76, you're still answering that question. Every morning you wake up, you've beaten the odds one more time. Every sunrise is a victory. His war ended in 1945, but his story continues in everyone who remembers, everyone who learns, everyone who understands that freedom isn't free. It's paid for in blood and courage by ordinary people in extraordinary times. Thank God they were there when we needed them. May we never forget. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a positive review or rating. It actually makes a huge difference in helping people find these stories and only takes a few seconds. This story can be shared thanks to a partnership with the Rutgers University Oral History Archives. If you've got a story you'd like their help in sharing, visit oralhistory.rutgers.edu. That's oralhistory.rutgers.edu. Visit povworldwar2.com for podcast updates and more. That's povww2.com. I'm Fernando Prieto. Thanks again for listening.